Chapter 6, Humanity's Second Arc. I managed to escape my fellow crew members and began walking the halls as randomly as I could. Every time I reached a fork in the road, so to speak, I would just go with my gut instinct and go left, right, or whatever. I was not looking for anything. I just wanted to find a quiet place. It should have been easy to find a quiet place to sit down and avoid people, but no matter how long I walked, nowhere seemed far enough away from everyone else, or quiet enough, so I walked on. During break times, when I was at school, I used to do the same thing. I would just walk away from the crowds and sit alone with my thoughts. It was impossible at school, though. Even when I just sat down behind the hut at the furthest reaches of the school grounds, someone would walk by that same place. As I walked the corridors of the Ark, I found empty rooms, but I knew that someone would find me. Still, I couldn't trust any place to be a place of solitude. As I wandered, sometimes turning around and going back where I'd already been when I heard voices, I pondered the ship, my new home. The Ark was city-sized, not as big as the Destroyer, even though they have the same basic design. 7 years ago, when the Ark pierced the atmosphere of our world to steal our water and air, it touched down over Iceland and almost completely obliterated the island. The tsunami caused by the landing crater changed the face of the northern hemisphere forever. Humanity managed to stop the Ark from stealing our resources. The battle was fierce, and only 3 days long, at least from what I remember. I was still a kid then. Then the Destroyer arrived 3 years later and began siphoning off Earth's resources all over again, at a much faster rate than the Ark ever did. We never determined what alien race had created it, but it was clear that they wanted what our planet had. Pundits on television wondered if they just wanted to replenish their own world. Maybe they were, like us, poisoning their own air and water as their population grew. Maybe they sought out our resources, rather than fixing the damage they had done to their home planet. We tried to fight their destroyer, but they had learned from our battle against the Ark, and the new ship was too powerful. The Ark is about 1/10 the size of the destroyer, and couldn't possibly hold all of Earth's water and air, so our scientists theorized that it was designed to strip smaller worlds, and must have been wrongly programmed to attack Earth. The capture of the Ark was a momentous day for humanity. We had gained a host of various technologies, as well as a giant intergalactic spaceship. For a while, the most powerful countries debated which nation should hold the rights to the ship. The United Nations spent months arguing the issue. Eventually, though, international cooperation won over, and it was decided that the ship would be used solely for scientific research. The Ark program was born, and it began as a space exploration project. We intended to send it out into space to explore our solar system, in far greater detail than ever possible before. By testing the alien technology on the Ark, humanity became aware that aliens existed, and that they weren't too friendly. Militaries around the world began preparing for a possible second attack. Then the second attack happened. The Destroyer came, and the Ark program changed. No longer focused on exploration, it would work to preserve the human race so it could continue beyond Earth. I was 12 years old when the Destroyer landed, and I remember the news broadcast of the first, second, and third attacks on it. The threat it posed was better understood by that time, but every assault against it failed. So the governments of the world lied to the people and told them the Ark would be dropped on the Destroyer to obliterate it. The truth was the Ark was going to be used to save a portion of the human race. World leaders assured the people that the Ark program had a different goal. The exploration was cancelled, and instead the Ark would be a weapon. As the Destroyer stole from us, so did the Ark, taking air and water for the humans who would fly safely away from Earth. At orientation, Dr. Ghost explained, coldly and logically, that the planet was doomed anyway, which is why the Ark had to take even more resources. I've spent most of the last 9 months, since I knew I was going to be saved, thinking about his logic. It's like those situations in films where the hero has to make the hard choice, to destroy in order to protect, to weigh life for life. A part of me used to cry, "Save them all." But Dr. Ghost presented the facts. The Earth was already dead, and everyone was doomed. We weighed up the future of humanity, or its fated present, and seeking the future was the logical choice. Logic, however, was cold and unfeeling, and it didn't make me feel better, even if I wanted it to. Despite the secrecy of the Ark program, some people found out. The rich and powerful thought they could buy their way to salvation. More than a few oligarchs, corporate CEOs, and royal families were neutralized when they tried to influence the program at the highest level. Dr. Ghost had told us that some wealthy people tried to blackmail governments into letting them on board the Ark, and they threatened to reveal the plan to the general public. At orientation, they explained how we were chosen. Only so much air, water, and food could be stored on the Ark, and that dictated how many people could go. Dr. Ghost had insisted children be the crew of the Ark, young enough to survive the journey, and each using less resources than a full-grown adult. Dr. Ghost also selected children across the globe based on who had the best DNA for a successful gene pool. It was important that humanity continued with the best possible chance of survival, he had reasoned. Dr. Ghost decided that one child from every nation on Earth would go, so that all of humanity was represented. I am lucky to be here. But when I think of the millions who never had a chance, I feel sad and almost ashamed for them. The Ark was put into orbit long before we needed to be teleported on board, just to keep it safe. On launch day, once Dr. Ghost and his teams had unlocked most of the alien technology on board, the whole world watched the Ark lift off into high orbit. Only a mere hour after it was set in orbit did the questions and arguing spread around the planet. Billions of people were expecting the Ark to smash the destroyer, as they had been told, but that didn't happen. That was when the chaos started. Governments around the world disintegrated as people rebelled, demanding a spot on the Ark when they realized the truth. For our protection, the Chosen had to wait until the last minute to board the ship, using the newly added teleportation system. And now I was on board, wandering around, just taking my new reality in. I can't imagine how the alien builders of the Ark decided that they would just strip other planets of life. I wondered if they cared that they had destroyed a whole civilization. I wondered why the ships were sent without any crew. I wondered if the aliens saw humans as nothing more than rodents. I continued down the ship's various corridors, pondering all that we had won and lost, and what my future held. As I turned a corner, the alien architecture of the ship changed into something that was very familiar to me. Thank you for listening to this chapter from Stolen Futures. Please like or comment on this video, and subscribe to The Eighth Plot so you don't miss out on the next installment of this book. Goodbye.